once, I'm not mad at anything.
Boom, 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 boom. I want you in my room.
Despite starting the season extremely well against Nuremberg, who were led by Quarantine Tolisso, it might have been false hope as they only got 11 points all season. The 5-0 loss to Bayern after was tough to take and had me feeling that we'd have to rely on the Cups once again for a decent season.
Okay.
We'll see, but Leverkusen remained mostly the same. We lost Areola and Demirbay on free transfers, loaned a bunch of players out, and sold Andrik in January. I also sold Seiwald as he could never really perform for me. He was theoretically replaced by Eyüp Aydin, who I got on a free transfer from Bayern. He didn't play that much. Other than that, I signed Alexander Schwolov for 2 million as a backup keeper and signed a bunch of wonder kids. I also wanted Dominik Szoboszlai. For one, to mess with Leipzig again.
Leverkusen.
But secondly, to take our midfield to the next level. My plan was to use this formation and I envisioned him as the Mazzala. Losing to Bayern that badly though led to this system being used less and more so being split with this current system. However, Szoboszlai chose Arsenal over us, but Leipzig had another talented midfielder with an affordable release fee.
Stop it.
That'd be Danny Olmo, who was brought in for £45.5 million. Speaking of Leipzig, we defeated them 2-1 with a brace from Florian Wirtz. I was hoping for big things from Wirtz this season. He developed into a great player and has a tendency to score from distance, so I was really excited. On the same match day, the match after ours was Der Klassiker, and
I heard Bayern lost.
last season, it took them 15 matches to lose, so this was very promising, although not just for us. Bayern would continue on dropping points, not just in the Bundesliga, but the Champions League as well. They won the treble in the previous season, capped off by the best Champions League comeback since Liverpool in Istanbul. Ironically, their comeback came against Liverpool. I attended it myself, and even though I don't like Bayern in this universe, I popped off when Lewandowski equalized. Lewandowski! They'd prevent Liverpool from winning their third straight title, which made it even funnier when they finished third in their Champions League group this season. We, on the other hand, had PSG in our group. Their manager is no longer Pochettino. It isn't Zidane either, nor Antonio Conte, or anyone you would guess in 100 attempts. The man in charge of Messi and Neymar is Pavel Verba, who in real life is managing Sparta Prague. Now, PSG offered me a job interview after season 2, and I decided to talk to them, not to take the job, but to just waste Al-Khelafi's time. I mostly gave answers like not wanting to work with their sporting director Leonardo because no one likes that guy, and asking for more transfer budget than they were already offering. I like to think that PSG became skint and I was supposed to be their top target. Then with me wasting their time, all the options were gone and they were stuck with this guy who's making half the money I am. Anyways, we actually defeated them in the first match and narrowly lost the second match. Finishing second in the group was fine, and that led to Inter being drawn for the round of 16. Back to the Bundesliga, the first half of the season went very well. Outside of a random 3-0 loss against Hamburg, we had strong results. That included the match against Dortmund, which as usual was crazy. It's a penal? A handball from a corner kick in the 90th minute gave us a penalty, which Tapsoba slotted home. Wish he did that in the Europa League final. On the way to December, we faced Wolfsburg, and with them missing the Champions League on the last day of the previous season, that really affected them. So much so, their manager was sacked, and we ended up pissing on their grave with a 7-0 victory. Hoffenheim, on the other hand, should have been fine, but with the score at 1-1, we conceded this.
No.
Despite creating chances in the second half, we lost this match and the final match of the Hinrunda 4-1 to Frankfurt. Still, we were in second, not behind Bayern, who were fifth. Instead, Dortmund were first. After their loss against us, they took out their anger at the rest of the league, including Wolfsburg. Surprisingly, there were 4 contenders for the Bundesliga title. RB Leipzig were ahead of Bayern with 15 matches undefeated since their loss against us. That included a win over Bayern. This run would eventually extend to 26 before a loss to Bayern later on in the season. I don't know what Manuel Baum did with this team, but losing Danny Olmo and Szoboszlai did nothing but improve this team. Unfortunately, we would drop back in this race. Despite defeating Nuremberg again, another loss to Bayern, and drawing Leipzig 0-0 was a tough start to the Rückrunde. We had wins sandwiched between a DFB Pokal third round matchup, but then dropped points to Hamburg right after. FM didn't like us that day. Nevertheless, I did mention the DFB Pokal, which of course was against our friends Dortmund, although this match had more stakes than usual. Last season, we gave a new contract to Florian Wirtz. I gave him more money, but it also included a promise. That promise was to win the domestic cup by the 2024-25 season. I also just really wanted to win this trophy, man. A final and a semi-final loss in 3 years just sucks. The match did go well though. Issa Demir put us 1-0 up in the 21st minute, Paulinho doubled that lead in the 50th minute, and despite Adeyemi's goal being ruled out in the 84th minute, we were heading to the 90th minute with a nice victory. Great. Let's just shut up shop. You've gotta be kidding me. While it was awesome that we scored first in extra time with Adeyemi, what wasn't awesome was probably conceding the third dumbest goal of the season.
Come on, it's gotta be scripted, bro.
That means penalties. All of them were being scored, and then Florian Wirtz stepped up as our fifth taker. He scored. Everyone scored, except for Zabarny, as we lost the Pens 7-6. Wirtz came to me after the match. We lost on penalties, man. Handed a transfer request, do we do it, and got benched. Adeyemi also put up a fuss in January about not going to Manchester City. I said he could leave for a certain price, and once again, he overvalued himself and got benched as well, despite having a great season. Time for the Champions League.
And I've never even heard of this.
The first leg against Inter was an even game, more even than I expected, and it finished 1-1. Now, I had a tough choice to make. With a few wins, we lowered the gap between us and Dortmund by 3 points, and with them coming soon after the Inter tie and wanting to for sure beat Bochum, I made a sacrifice.
It was an act of political sacrifice.
Sacrifice?
Realistically, I didn't want to play more matches, and if we compare that with our Bundesliga title contenders, RB Leipzig had no Europe, Dortmund ended up going to the quarterfinals, and Bayern had so many fixtures added up because they ended up winning the Europa League. We defeated Bochum afterwards and had Dortmund for the 3rd time this season. It was a tough match. Gio Reyna shocked us early with a goal from distance, then we cheesed our way back with a rebound from Paulinho. Then old man Hummels scored a corner, which was responded by a backer strike getting deflected by Guiri to make it 2-2. I was making changes, finding some sort of way to get an advantage in this game. Dortmund in the standings had a massive goal difference, so if I didn't win this game, we would need them to drop 2 matches at least. But bringing on Florian Wirtz proved to be important. Okay, last highlight in the 90th minute. Please be something positive. We got Wirtz. Oh my gosh, Florian Wirtz! Just like that, we were tied with Dortmund on points. Still behind them on goal difference, so we needed to be perfect and hope that they dropped points. They would soon lose their quarterfinal tie to a bunch of Zebras, which didn't impact them in the Bundesliga. So with 6 matches left, we had to do one thing. Believe. It's what you see entering your football manager save. It is also something you need when you try to win the Bundesliga, and your name isn't Bayern Munich. A full preseason of preparation, blood, sweat, and tears for a long, grueling season. Augsburg came up, and they were dismantled 4-0. Hanover made it tough, but a strong second half performance gave us another big victory. Then it was Wolfsburg. They had a manager, but they didn't have composure. With the score tied 1-1, Schlager gets sent off in the 90th minute, which immediately led to this. Free kick. Zabarny to Guardiol. Guardiol gets it to Paulinho. He scores! Yes! Let's go! Despite all this work, Dortmund matched us. Then they had Wolfsburg, which to be fair, was always going to be a win. So we needed to beat Hoffenheim at home. They defeated us earlier in the season, and like in that game, they took the lead. But we've shown so much perseverance with late goals that it wouldn't impact us. Okay, but we can counter. No, we can't, because Olmo loses the ball because it takes forever to pass it, but we have the ball still. Oh my gosh. That's not supposed to happen. This isn't happily ever after. This is Leverkusen. Dortmund did drop points on the penultimate day of the season, but our loss to Hoffenheim and then hitting blanks against Hertha ruled out everything. The win on the last day of the season just made it look even more painful, as is the Leverkusen way. At least there's always next season. I swear if he joins Bayern, I'm resigning.